Good morning again. And we talk more today about comparing educational needs with specific groups of learning disabilities. Most importantly, we're talking today about learning disabilities, ADHD students, and students with emotional behavioral disorders or disabilities. When we start to just compare and contrast, we have to look at what each specific child or student looks for and what they identify as and what are the specific characteristics that distinguish them one from another, LD, ADHD, and emotional behavioral disabilities. We start with the learning disability students. We're talking about students with specific cognitive processing issues. Their core academic skills are problems with reading comprehension, writing, and mathematic reasoning. Their issues become situations like dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyslexia being difficult to process and read, dysgraphia meaning difficulty writing, and dyscalculia, which comes with math reasoning and understanding how to calculate mathematic equations. As we move on to the ADHD students, we're talking about persistent patterns in inattention, hyperactivity, impulsivity, and these things interfere with learning and social functioning. These students also need a really structured environment as their hyperactivity and these things tend to really get in the way of them being able to be active learners and being able to understand concepts. There are often benefits of medication, which help to manage these situations and help students kind of be able to stay on task and focus. The third category we talk about is emotional behavioral disabilities. These students have complex difficulties in recognizing, processing, and managing emotional responses. They're characterized also specifically by anxiety, depression, or trauma related behavioral issues. More of a holistic approach is asked with these students, integrating psychological and educational and social interventions. No matter what the condition or disability is, it's very important that these particular students under their diagnosis is understood and what's best for each of these students. Very often, the characteristics of all of these will cross over from one to another, and student teachers have to make sure that they understand what the various differences are in order to be able to address the students' needs. When we look at the characteristics again a little bit further in depth, we talk about the the learning the LD students in specific learning areas, despite very often they have average or even above average intelligence. The most prevalent in the academic setting is the split between being able to math and perform with reading on reading tasks. In addition, other learning disabilities include, like we said earlier, dyslexia, which is a difficulty with reading and language processing, dyscalculia, difficulty with math, and dysgraphia, which is the difficulty with writing. Students who show discrepancies between their IQ and their performance levels. These deficits will appear in their early years and must be addressed at that time. We move to the ADHD students. These are the students that are facing challenges in sustaining attention. They lack impulse control and regulating activities. They exhibit the hyperactivity, inattention, impulsivity, and often making it difficult for them to complete tasks or to stay focused during lessons. Students with ADHD cannot complete tasks as presented because they lose their focus so easily. These students will sometimes act out in order to hide their deficits. We look at emotional behaviors disabilities. These students students refer to the exhibit behaviors of emotions that significantly interfere with their ability to function in a typical classroom setting. Their behaviors impede the learning of the student as well as their peers. These students include behaviors such as aggression, withdrawal, anxiety, depression, or noncompliance. These students may have difficulty in building positive relationships with peers and teachers. Their emotional distress can often be disruptive, and their ability to focus on activities could be very offsetting to the class. The teaching, the teaching strategies that are used for these particular students or the LD students, teachers can often use step-by-step instructions to help explain things. They can also use multisensory tools and methods. Then they also can use visual aids and hand-on oral presentations in order to help students with LD. The ADHD students uh, respond best when it's predictable class routines, clear instruction, visual schedules so they can see what they're supposed to do, uh, small, smaller assignments, taking bigger assignments and then breaking them down into smaller assignments to help students kind of digest and accomplish the task at hand. Positive, constant positive reinforcement. And then also we have fidget tools that these students can use in order to be able to help them understand and stay on task. When we move to the emotional behavior students, they're the things that help teach them best are establishing relationships and great rapport with them from the start. Then clear behavioral expectations are set for the students. Then we want to make sure that they have self-expression opportunities, things like art projects or writing or such as journaling can help these students continue to do very well. Group discussions and even coloring therapy have shown to be very effective in helping these students become very, very well in terms of being able to accomplish the task of being educated. The biggest thing that we find is that it's understanding the unique needs of these students and responding with empathy, structure, flexibility, most important. It'll foster a positive and inclusive environment for these students that enables every student to succeed. The success is often the result of getting to know the student and focusing on the deficits while encouraging the student to act on their specific strengths. This can be a timely process and may often be a result of trying different strategies for each student and for each disability. Once we do that and we employ these different strategies, now we're able to address the needs of each student and find what's necessary to help them have the best educational experience and the best educational environment for each student to be successful in the classroom. Thank you.